5-6 years ago, whenever I moved back to my hometown where I'm originally from, I moved back here. Maybe it might have been 6-7 years ago, but I moved back here because I knew it was the cheapest place for me to live. And I knew that I knew people. I got family members here. I got friends that still live here, and it would be the easiest place for me to eventually start back and build what will hopefully eventually one day become the whole Static Empire. and this was the goal that I've had. And granted, it's going a lot slower than what I've liked. But
let me ask you something. And I know you brought me on as a guest, and I'm asking you some questions.
But that's the whole point of a conversation, man.
We're buddies and we're hanging out, and I'm always looking out for the best of your interest. Why do you think it's been going slow? Is somebody not there to push you or motivate you into like I've talked to you recently about buying a house. I bought my first house when I was 23. And have owned 3 houses since then. And, you see a lot of good people that are working hard and stuff like that. And you ask them, like, why haven't you? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just never had an interest. And it's like, what are you waiting for? I mean, especially now is probably the opportunity that is probably presented to you that you're going to pay the same what you would do in rent and have some equity and something for yourself in the future. I mean, why not just go and do it?
Well, I mean, I guess over the last 5 years, particularly, it's just me, because 5-6 years ago, I didn't have anything. I didn't have a dime to my name. I was at that point in time. I was jumping from state to state. I lived in 4 states in 4 years prior to that. I lived in Pennsylvania, up by Lancaster. I lived there for about a year and a half. I lived. I jumped back to St. Louis for a time. I jumped down to Florida for probably about another year and a half, and then I went up to North Carolina, and I was there for I was in North Carolina for 6, 7, 8 months, and then I was like, you know what? Something's got to change. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to the only place where I know that I can afford to live right now, because I didn't have a job at that time. And at that time, I was supporting myself by doing photography and just other random odd jobs. I was doing scrap metal, buying scrap, getting scrap metal, I was essentially a scrapper.
Yeah.
So.
Did you say scrapper or stripper?
Scrapper.
Oh, okay. I wanted to clarify.
I mean, I know you would have liked to known me to be in the stripper, Pat, but
I don't know if you could climb the pole. So that's
probably not. I'm too fat.
You need real.
Yeah, my arms are too short to climb that pole. Come on now. But I was a scrapper, and that's how I supported myself and my fiance at the time. But it was just something snapped at me. I was like, you know what, man, I got to make a change. I got to do something different. And I was getting tired of just being like, you know what, you're talking a lot about a lot of stuff, and you never put forth the effort to actually do it.
Right.
So over the course,
a lot of people have that problem.
Yeah, over the course of the last 5 to 6 years, it was kind of just a baby step program of me building myself back up and branching off into all the things that I wanted to do. And sometimes it's I think to go back to your question is, what do you think's taking you so long, or why do you think it's not where I want it to be? Because just there's some stuff over the last 5 years that's went on, that, and I deal with depression and stuff like that. So there's days and times where I just get in a funk and I'm just like, screw it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to go 9 to 5 and whatever. But then I come around, I'm just like, and I have that problem, and I'll never not admit that, but after this past year, 2020, and seeing all of these places disappear and me screaming at the top of my lungs, telling people to wake up and to open their eyes to see what's really happening, I realize that I can't be the person that just sits back anymore and just casually goes with the flow. like I normally do, that I actually have to be the person to get out there and essentially run full speed at what I want to do and try to grab up everything that I want to do.
Yeah, because no one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
And I don't care who politically is in office. You got to start with yourself and in your own community, because man, time will pass you by and you'll look back and say, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I mean, even though that I've I've had people say to me, I say, hey, I failed in the last restaurant that I did. Oh, you didn't fail. Well, I did. I gotta, maybe it wasn't all my fault, but I failed. But I can't sit here and whine and cry about it. I have to pick myself up, because, I want to keep a roof over my head. I have a wife and two boys. Now, my sons are 20 and 31 years old. They're not little kids anymore. But, I've always felt life is short, and if I don't grab it, somebody else is going to grab it and get out there and get it, because I've always wanted to, not that I wanted to be rich, but I always felt that, money empowered you to kind of do some things that you can't do being poor. So there's things that I want to do to give back, and I gave back in my business, and it allows you time to, to even volunteer and do a lot of things that, again, you can't. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, we didn't have a car a lot of times. Yeah. We walked. I mean, I remember walking to I remember I was, and I got upset and was crying about it as a teenager, because I would ride a bike at like 14, 15 years old. I remember having money. I had something like $60, and I rode my bike, and I went into the store, and I bought groceries, and I went to go up and pay, and I had lost the money. And I had to leave the groceries there and drive home and say I lost the money. And it was my money, but I was so upset. And then I learned a lot. I had it in my hand like this on the cart, but there was times then I would go there, and I had a weekly job washing dishes. I would cut grass. I would deliver newspapers. And my dad had me late. He had me at 45 years old, and he was a ladies' man, and he never married my mom, and they had their own issues, and he was married twice before, but we struggled. We didn't have a lot. I mean, I remember seeing the neighbors. We opened our fridge. We didn't have. So when I was making money, I was buying food for my dad, and my sister wound up living there then, and I would ride home on the bike with grocery bags on the handles and stuff like that. So I come from a poor welfare background, and I always said that I want to be a better father and a better husband than what I was when I grew up. And it takes money. You can be a good person for free, but it takes money to put food on the table and keep a roof over your head and have a car. Yeah.
And that's something like most people don't know is the little story that I told 5-6 years prior. Like I had nothing. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a bank account at that time. Like I literally, the only thing that I owned was a backpack, a suitcase, a handful of clothes, and a cell phone that worked on Wi-Fi. So like I didn't have anything. So to me, where I'm at in my life now, from 5 to 6 years ago, having my own apartment, having a full-time job, that I have the keys to the freaking building,
and having, honestly too,
I have 3 cars. I had 3 cars. I sold one of them not too long ago. So in 5 years,
even the ability to do this. Yeah. Anytime you want, you could reach out through someone through Facebook or Messenger or social media and say, hey, Pat, hey, John, hey, Rob, can we talk? And, sounds like 6 years ago, you really didn't have that if you didn't have a cell phone or some network of friends that you could kind of lean on to kind of get you motivated and do those things.
Yeah. Like I had a cell phone, but it ran through Wi-Fi. So if I wasn't near a Wi-Fi area that had Wi-Fi,
it didn't work.
I didn't use it. It didn't work. I used it as a something to listen to music on.
Right.
So I still had friends and stuff like that, but like if I wasn't in an area that had Wi-Fi, there was no way that I would be able to talk to these people.
Right. Exactly.
That, and that was right about the time that I started to do, when I moved back here, I got it in. I was just like, I'm going to start doing stuff on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. And I started all this venture into what I do now. All of that started through Instagram. I was doing motivational things that I called motivational madness on Instagram. They were like 13-second clips of me just talking random stuff, about getting motivated and doing something with your life that you wanted to do. And then that kind of morphed into, I'd meet somebody and then I'd see what they're doing. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to try that. I'm going to do this. And essentially my life over the last 7 years has come full circle. Like it started from one thing and it's branched off to where I'm at now of being that person that goes out and does what he wants to do. Something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be able to live my life how I wanted to live my life. Find my own happiness. And for me, finding my own happiness is not about making millions and millions of dollars. It's being able to be happy and content within myself and what I'm doing with myself at that current moment in time. Like, am I happy with what I'm doing with my life right now? And I can say, and why I get so confrontational with some people about things is, they tell me they see me and they're like, Jaysin, you need to be doing this and you need to do this. You can make this much, you could do this much more and you could make this much more. And I'm like, bro, I'm happy and I'm content with my life where I'm at right now. I'm the happiest that I've ever been in my life. Yes, I still suffer from depression and stuff like that, and I have bad days, but I'm the happiest that I've ever been, and I know what direction that I want to go in. That's not something that I've ever had in my life over the last 6 years. I know the direction and the path of where I want to go at. I know what I need to do to get there. It's just making sure that I don't overload myself to the point of where I burn myself out, or I put too much on my plate and I can't succeed, which in turns, makes me take 14 steps back.
Right.
So the slow roll of what I've done now, and the reason why I said earlier is why it's not as quick as what I've like. Obviously, I'm that type of, I want it right now, but I realize that certain stuff can't be right now. Certain stuff has to be put back later until I reach that point. And I'm fine with that, even though I don't like it. Because having too much on my plate at one time, it's going to get me to the point of where I just get, too caught up. I get too engulfed into what I'm doing. Stuff starts slipping. And that's when those monsters and demons that we all have, get the squawking, and those are the places that I don't want to go to. And that's my overall goal, is to make sure those demons that I have don't come knocking on my door. So I've realized over the course of the last several years is small steps for me works best. I might not like it, but that's what works best for me, because then I don't overload myself. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Jaysin Static Experience podcast. If you want to listen to the full show, head over to odyssey.com or any major podcast platform. All the links for all of those places will be in the description below and in the pinned comment. If you want to help support the show so I can keep bringing you more of these, be sure to head on over to www.jaysonstatic.com. Check out all the super cool items I have over there, all the super cool merch I have over there. Thanks for hanging out one more time, and much love. Peace out.